What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. As we continue to check out the best builds here in Destiny, we turn our attention to the only Arc Warlock that you'll need to be using in the new Ash and Iron update. Warlocks are about to get a few substantial upgrades when it comes to buddies. All of our buddies, including Helion, Arc Souls, and Ionic Sentries, will now be coded as a grenade ability, which means these are going to sync up with our grenade stat. So by building our grenade stat to 200 points, we'll be able to give our buddies as much as a 60% bonus in damage, just as a standard grenade would. And by exceeding 100 points with our grenade stat, we'll gain a 190% bonus to any source of additional grenade energy. It's not going to have any effect over sentries, but this will improve the regen of our standard grenade, which we do have storm grenades currently selected. So if we had weapon traits like Demolitionist, just as an example, instead of providing a base amount of 10% bonus grenade energy, this will provide 19%. Because sentries will now count as a grenade ability, there should be additional synergy that these will be able to develop with various armor mods, class fragments, and exotics. Ionic Sentries have already been an incredible addition to the Stormcaller arsenal. As you defeat enemies with arc and kinetic damage, you'll build up the necessary charge for an Ionic Sentry. It'll take between 3 and 6 final blows to ready a sentry, and once it's ready, it'll take over your grenade function, just like the gunpowder gamble would for hunters. When the sentry's thrown, it'll blind nearby enemies, and once it's positioned, it'll begin striking nearby enemies with lightning damage. This deals a base amount of 202 points of damage, and that will chain to nearby enemies. As the sentry strikes enemies, you'll build up stacks of bolt charges. We're not going to be able to rain down an ungodly amount of bolt charges like Titans would, but we are going to be able to set these off pretty frequently, which will add a great deal of bonus damage for us. After throwing a sentry, there will be a 6-second cooldown before we're able to gain additional charges, but that doesn't really deter our ability to create sentries. We currently have some solid exotic options to pair up with sentries. Crown of Tempest and Fallen Sunstar are great for bonus ability energy, and the Geomag stabilizers are a fantastic option for optimal super damage. But with buddies now counting as grenades, there's another exotic that I think you should consider using, and that is the Verity's Brow. If everything works out as I'm expecting it to, this exotic should now amplify the damage of Ionic Sentries, along with our selected grenade. Verity's Brow provides the 4th magic intrinsic trait, so whenever we defeat enemies with arc weapons, we'll build up a stacking bonus to the damage and regeneration rate of our grenade. This starts off by giving us a 40% bonus in damage, with a 0.5% regen bonus getting applied every second, but this will max out at a 100% bonus in damage, with a 2.5% bump in grenade energy every second. Since this bonus will stack on top of other damage bonuses, like the one provided by our grenade stat, we're going to be able to inflict a lot more damage with our sentries and our storm grenade. An additional benefit of running Verities is that when you have nearby teammates, they will receive a ×10 bonus to the regeneration of their grenades whenever we throw a sentry or storm grenade, and that could have a major impact on the overall performance of your team, especially if you've got a full fire team of 6. Even though Arc Souls are going to be considered a grenade, I'm not overly confident towards them working with this exotic, but since they will receive the benefits of the bonus damage provided by our grenade stat, we do have a lot of incentive to use this as our second aspect. Whenever we cast our Rift, we'll create these Arc Buddies. They'll last for 15 seconds, and any teammate that passes through our Rift will create their own Arc Soul, but their Arc Soul damage will be decided by their own grenade stat. Healing Rifts are great for a continuous source of health regen, but when Ash and Iron launches, Empowering Rifts will now provide bonus grenade and melee energy, along with a 20% bonus to all outgoing damage. So if you're able to sustain your own survivability, then you should consider using Empowering over top of healing. An additional benefit in running Arc Souls is that we'll gain a passive bonus to our class ability regen whenever we have teammates nearby. This will provide 40% with one teammate, but as much as 120% when 3 teammates are close by, so we'll be able to keep those Empowering Rifts active much more often, giving us and our teammates a bounty of powerful buddies. Whenever we're amplified, our Arc Buddies will fire faster, but we're not going to have Electrostatic Mind giving us amplified whenever we collect Ionic Traces, which means that amplified is going to get triggered after defeating consecutive enemies with arc damage. When Amplified is active, we'll gain a 15% bonus in damage resistance, and because of the new Shield Crush artifact mod, we'll gain an additional 25% bonus grenade damage, and a 25% bonus to the regeneration of our grenade. So we've got Verities providing us with as much as a 100% bonus in damage. We've got our grenade stack giving us an extra 60%, and Shield Crush giving us another 25, plus the 20% bonus from an Empowering Rift. And all of these bonuses are getting stacked together, providing us with as much as a 480% bonus in grenade damage. So there's about to be a lot of benefits in using Ionic Sentries and Arc Souls with Verity's Brow. When it comes to the rest of our class tree, we've got a total of 4 fragments to choose from. With Spark of Shock, we'll give our grenades the ability to jolt enemies, and this might even start working with Arc Souls and Ionic Sentries. Jolted enemies will chain lightning damage over the course of 8 seconds, and jolting grenades will stun Overload champions. So between our grenades and sentries, we will have Overload and Unstoppable champions covered. We're also using Spark of Discharge, which will create Ionic Traces whenever defeating enemies with arc weapons. Ionic Traces provide 15% bonus energy to each of our abilities, and when we collect those, we will gain additional stacks of bolt charges. We'll be able to create additional Ionic Traces thanks to the Elemental Coalescence artifact mod, which is going to create these as we rapidly defeat enemies. And because of the Elemental Overdrive artifact mod, we'll give our arc weapons a 10% bonus in damage whenever we collect an Ionic Trace. So there's a lot of synergy that's getting created here. With Spark of Recharge active, we'll give our melee and grenade abilities an additional boost to their uptime. Whenever we become critically wounded, those abilities will receive a 400% bonus, which will stay active until our shields are completely restored. And the last fragment that we're using is Spark of Resistance, which provides an additional 25% bonus damage resistance whenever we're surrounded by enemies, and that will stack on top of Amplified's bonus, providing us with around 32% overall resistance. With our class tree options now addressed, let's shift our focus over to our choice in weapons. We mentioned the benefit of using weapons with Demolitionist, but we would also love to see arc weapons with Volt Shot and jolting feedback, but don't sleep on the benefits of Rolling Storm. This will help us build up stacks of bolt charges much faster, allowing those to have a greater impact in our gameplay. When it comes to exotic weapons, there's several that would pair up really well with this build. The Trinity Ghoul, Thunderlord, Grand Overture, and Graviton Spike would all be excellent options. But the one exotic that I think really stands out above the rest is the Centrifuge. This auto rifle refills its magazine as you run, and it creates its own blinding explosions, which can be very effective against large groups of enemies and unstoppable champs. Something to keep in mind is that Ionic Sentries can be charged with arc and kinetic damage, which makes exotics like the Wither Horde very appealing, since it applies damage over time, and it has the potential to defeat multiple enemies at once. Otherwise, you might want to consider using the Bastion or the Kvostov. Now when it comes to armor, there's a few things to consider. We don't have any arc-centric armor sets right now, but we do have the Bushido set, which would provide health restoration whenever defeating enemies with a freshly drawn weapon. Ashes to Assets would be a great mod to use on our helmets, as this would provide bonus super energy whenever defeating enemies with our grenade, and the amount of energy that we get in return will be improved by building into our super stat. But we should consider focusing into our class stat so that we can ensure we have Arc Buddies up at all times. We are using a mixture of armor mods like Bomber, Distribution, and Innervation to generate extra ability energy. But if you are coming in short on your grenade, super, or even class stat, then you might want to consider using font mods. This way you'd gain either 20, 40, or 50 extra points to the desired stat. And with that, I do believe we have covered just about everything that you need to know about running the Verity's Brow with Arc Souls and Ionic Sentries. This will make for a tremendously powerful build in Ashen Iron, so be sure to have this exotic and build ready to go when that new update hits. If you need help getting this build set up for yourself, then be sure to check out my Mobalytics and dim links, which are down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about today's build and what build you're planning on using in Ashen Iron. Let us know down in the comments. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then please be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel, and so does being a member. So a big shout out and thank you to all of our members. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.